Embarrassing again. The Bears give us all the hope in the world, and they just can't pull off the victory as expected because Matt Eberflus is a joke of a coach. Absolutely terrible decisions. Loses another challenge. He is 2 for 10 now, all-time as the Bears head coach. And the Bears make it exciting. They get everyone their hopes up. They do what they always do. And everyone's so upset. Even Tony's so upset he came on for Postgame Live. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bears. My name is Nick Brody, and as always, thank you for tuning in. And I'm joined alongside my co-host and good friend, Tony Sapita. Tony, instant reaction after the Bears' 30-27 loss in overtime to the Minnesota Vikings.
All right, I'm going to start with a positive. Caleb Williams is the guy. He is the guy, capital T-H-E, the guy. Matt Eberflus, as you mentioned, lowercase, not the guy. I don't know if lowercase matters there, but just not the guy. So you said what? 2 for 10 on challenges, 0 for 4 this year as well.
0 for 4 this year. Yep.
Yeah, which is brutal. I mean, it just in general, just the little mistakes and the big mistakes, but even just the little mistakes leading up to it. We should have won that game. We should have at least been competitive, closer throughout that game. Obviously, we'll get into what happened at the end of the game, which made that a classic Bears silly football game. But overall, my takeaway is special teams was an F- until the very end when obviously they recovered the onside kick. Caleb Williams, I mean, we made the right choice. That's the other thing that I didn't have a doubt about it, but people online were starting to be a little mean to us. We made the right choice with Caleb Williams. He can do it. Even he can overcome Matt Eberflus, only to a certain point. Obviously, it was still lost. But he and Thomas Brown. Sorry, shout out Thomas Jones. Thomas Brown worked together really well. Shane Waldron, clearly an idiot. Defense leaves a lot to be desired. That was tough. Would have been a great game for them to not give up 30, but what a game.
Here's what I want to say about the whole thing. So there was a ton of positives today about the game. Like there's no denial that there was positives. And I want to run through those real quick. Before we do, guys, please hit the like button on this video if you haven't already and share your thoughts in the comment section about how you felt about today's game. Let's get this thing over 100 people in here. But Bears fall to the Minnesota Vikings 30-27. Tony, I'm going to start building off of some of the positives I want to hit on today. And then there's a ton of negatives that we're going to go through as well. But the first things first, Caleb Williams. 30 for 44, 303 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns. Finally broke that curse of 4 games without a passing touchdown. 0 interceptions again. The rookie now has 11 passing touchdowns, 5 interceptions on the season. Along with that, too, he broke the Bears' single-season rookie passing record for a rookie quarterback. He now is over 2,350 yards. He broke Mitchell Trubisky's record that he set back in 2017. Huge positive there. And the biggest positive I want to take away from this whole thing, and Tony, I want to hear your thoughts on it, and chat, I want to hear your thoughts too. Thomas Brown is the guy. 100% is the offensive coordinator that the Bears needed, and he should absolutely stick around even if Flus leaves. And honestly, thinking about it, they have more respect for Thomas Brown than Flus. I don't know if you saw the Bears' Twitter, but they posted their pre-game video. They showed Thomas Brown twice. They didn't show Matt Eberflus once. They also had Thomas Brown talking twice. They didn't talk about Matt Eberflus once. Thomas Brown should be the head coach of the Chicago Bears for the rest of the season moving forward. And even if we do move on from Flus, I hope that the next coach that comes in keeps Thomas Brown, because Thomas Brown also might likely get a head coaching job, especially after another impressive game this past week. But Tony, what are your thoughts so far on Thomas Brown?
Yeah, I love him. It's just a breath of fresh air. It is. I was a little worried as we were kind of getting into the second quarter. I did write down, I said, okay, did we maybe crown Thomas Brown a little early? But he came back out. He made adjustments. Obviously, there was a lot of factors that kicked the Bears in the gonads that did not allow them to win this game. But Thomas Brown was not the reason they didn't win this game. There were a couple miscommunications that I don't think were his fault. Like DeAndre Swift thought a screen pass was going to him, but it was going to Cole Kmet, so he didn't make a block. There was just a lot of weird stuff that I don't put on Thomas Brown. He schemed. I mean, he's just scheming dudes open. We should play every single game like we're in the 2-minute drill, because both the first half and second half ends of the game, the offense was insane in a good way. The start of overtime, that was arguably the worst drive I've ever seen of Bears football, and there's a lot of those. So overall, I totally agree with you. I like Thomas Brown. He was coming into a kind of a no-win situation for him, where it was, okay, you already fired the offensive coordinator. This guy's kind of just filling in. Obviously, he was with the Panthers last year, so people were getting, on the Bears for making that decision. But he has proven that he can actually make diamonds out of dirt, or I don't know. There's probably some saying that
Pull
makes more
out of
sense.
diamonds.
Yeah, call out. There we go.
Come on, man.
Knew it was something like that. And he's done a great job. I really do appreciate what he's done for this team and making. I know we didn't win, but Caleb Williams is progressing, and that is by far the most important thing today and for the rest of the season.
So I want to go through the box score of today's game because I want to call it Thomas Brown. Thomas Brown has over 800 yards of total offense in 2 games as a Chicago Bears offensive coordinator. 397 today, 320 total passing yards, 77 rushing, a little bit of a quiet day from the rushing standpoint. But, 20 first downs, 6 for 17 on third down could have been a little bit better, but 2 for 3 on fourth down, 73 total plays. Penalties absolutely killed this team today. I want to talk about the officiating in a little bit, Tony, because there's a lot of missed calls there. But the Bears had less time of possessions, 34 and 24 in seconds. So the Bears and Vikings almost had the same exact amount of time of possession. But Thomas Brown, man, 800 yards in 2 games as offensive coordinator, going back-to-back against your NFC North rivals, and you lost by 1 score each time because Matt Eberflus, which we're going to get into in a minute, folks, I want the chat to go absolutely insane on Matt Eberflus. You know what? Here's what we're going to do. Chat, while we're talking about Thomas Brown and how much we like him, and feel free to talk about that, chat, I want to hear how frustrated you are with Matt Eberflus, because that's going to be a very fun segment. But, Tony, Thomas Brown spreading out the ball. You go through the stats. Let's go through it real quick. Caleb Williams with 32 rushing yards. Again, 6.4 yard per carry average. Keenan Allen, 9 catches for 87. That one drop that he had, and then the one where his foot was, I thought he was in. But I think that, Keenan Allen was at 100 yards receiving today. Russ missed a ton of calls. DJ Moore, 5 receptions for 69 yards. Very nice. 13.8 yard per carry. And then a receiving touchdown. Keenan Allen also had a receiving touchdown. Cole Kmet was very involved today. 7 receptions for 63 yards. But, man, this offense was spreading the ball out. They're looking really good. And Thomas Brown is doing a great job by spreading it out.
Yeah, the one thing with the Keenan, was his toe, was it in or out? I don't know if you saw this, Nick. Mike Pereira said it on the broadcast, and it befuddled me. I don't even know how else to describe it. He said that they have boundary cameras set up, down the sidelines.
Right.
But not every stadium has it, so they're trying to make it fair, I guess. On a scoring review, so an official review, they can use it, but you cannot use it on a coach's challenge. They don't use it, which would have been the only angle that would have possibly proven whether his toe was in or out. That's craziness. So we may have gotten screwed there. The other Keenan drop was further proof to me that Caleb Williams is the man, because Keenan did not have his head around at all. That ball hit him in all 10 fingers. Hit him directly in the 100%. Palms. That was... it sucks he dropped it. Obviously, you want to complete that pass, whatever. But it was such a perfect throw right in the pocket that I couldn't help but be like, all right, at least Caleb isn't the problem.
No, Caleb is definitely not the problem. Caleb played a great game today. Back-to-back games with over 70% completion. Let's go over to the box score again. I want to see Caleb Williams' overall passer rating for this game. Against the Minnesota Vikings, 68.1 completion percentage. Excuse me, I rounded up. 340 passing yards. So over 2,400 passing yards now. Along with that, 2 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and a 103.1 quarterback rating. Thomas Brown is this guy's best friend, and I pray that Caleb Williams says something in the postgame about him.
Yeah, I totally agree. There was what was the big? There was something here. The 2-point conversion. So,
oh God.
So obviously the first one was tough. I think there was a hold. I really think that Keenan got held. It was something. Would it have been close still? Sure. I think it was a fine play call. They actually did it again on the next 2-point conversion, and then they had an option over the middle, and that's where Caleb ended up completing it. So I don't, even though things didn't work, it still works, if that makes sense. Like even when things, the result wasn't what we wanted, the process is absolutely there on offense, and it is just so beautiful to see.
The offense looks more spread out. And folks, I'm happy that you guys are commenting in the chat. We got over 212 people in here. Before we get into our Matt Eberflus roast, which we got a lot to go through, and we're going to have fun with you guys on it. If you guys haven't already, hit that like button if you want Matt Eberflus fired from this team, along with commenting in the chat, fire Flus. And if you haven't already, if you please could, stay up to date on all Chicago Bears news and notifications by hitting that subscribe button. Tony, let's have some fun with the chat right now. Matt Eberflus blows it again. And we're going to go to all the chat comments in a little bit. It's blowing up right now. We got 60 comments so far about Matt Eberflus. So Matt Eberflus blows the challenge early in the game on Addison, which Addison was clearly in. Keenan Allen, that one was close, but Matt Eberflus definitely should not have challenged that one. Waste of a timeout. On top of it, too, then Matt Eberflus goes for 2. Why he went for 2, I still don't understand. Tony, you look like you want to say something about it. But why would he go for 2? I don't get it.
Okay, so the overall argument is that it was mathematically and statistically the correct decision with analytics and whatever. So in theory, there's a 52% chance, NFL average, of completing a 2-point conversion. So when you're down 14, in theory, if you have to go for it twice, statistically you will get 1. Now, that is the NFL average. That is not taking into account Bears' stupidity. So that I think they should have kicked the extra points, just purely from the fact that we know who the Bears are, and they're obviously, things are not going to go our way. It was analytically the right choice, but we are such a dumb team sometimes, Flus, that we don't need to rely on analytics. We just gotta go out there and just play normal football. But that's in theory the thinking behind it. So yeah, there you go.
So okay, so I love everything's data driven now. We both know it in our day-to-day jobs. Tony and I love Excel. That's all we live in. Okay, so this is one thing I want to go through too. And Tony in chat, I want to ask you guys this because right now I'm going to start throwing up the Matt Eberflus comments. But I'm going to ask this to the chat, and Tony, I want you to think about it because it's going to be our next subject. Should the NFL officiating crew, specifically this one, who is known for throwing the most flags out of any officiating crew, they should get investigated. Mm-hmm. There were so many bad calls. There was 2 late hits missed on Caleb Williams. The Bears, okay, I'll just go to the box score because we're going to talk about it right now. But chat, we're going to go through your Matt Eberflus comments in just 1 second. And I want you guys to put your thoughts about the officiating crew of the day. The Vikings had 5 penalties for 45 yards. 4 of them came in the last 3 minutes of the game. Okay? Put that in mind. The Bears had 7 penalties for 80 yards total. 6 of them came before that 3 minutes. The last penalty was in overtime. Obviously a big factor for this. But Tony, thoughts on okay, so chat, talk about think about what you want to say about the officiating. Throw that in the chat. Say they suck, whatever. Throw that in the chat. Let's go through the Matt Eberflus comments, shall we, Tony? Because these are actually amazing. I love how upset we are. And the thing is that this was the nail in the coffin on the season, technically. Like, the season is technically over statistically. We have a 0.1% chance of getting into it. You guys know me. I'm all about till the fat lady sings. But let's see what everyone is saying about. Wow, these comments are amazing. From our man Stewart, Flus pulled defeat out of the jaws of victory. End zone elite. We got an F Flus. Refs missed plays on both sides. They weren't a factor at all. That's an interesting comment, Montana Shy. We'll go to that in a little bit. Head coach is hurting this team. Couldn't agree more. Eber fail. Okay, that's a new one. That might be used on tomorrow's thumbnail and title. Shout out to you, Robert. We got Flus from Relentless Mike. He sucks. He's a bad coach. Wouldn't hire this guy to bring me my mail. Oh, my God. Terrible, terrible. F Matt Eberflus. I love it. Let's see what Ron has to say. Not frustrated with Eberflus. He's done this so much that it's expected.
Eberflush,
right.
If you didn't see. I think that was
Eberflush from
saying
Ron.
Flush him down the toilet. Yeah.
I'm shocked Ron hasn't said how much he misses you, Tony, because he does miss you all the time.
He gave me a shout out earlier. Hi, Ron. Sorry. I said that earlier.
We got Eber loser. We have been flused again. These are great. These are amazing. Guys, keep them coming. Eber fail. That's my new favorite one. Okay. Kick field goals on 4th friggin' down. All right. Hate to say it, but the sideline catch was out of bounds. The sideline camera did show that. Okay. So, okay. Thanks, Ron. Appreciate it. See, Ron's been a little bit more optimistic lately. Just have to call that one. Kmet missed a huge catch, and that's another one, too. We're going to go into the mistakes of this team in just a few minutes, guys. But let's see. What is this one? Caleb choked in overtime. I have to disagree with that one. Eberflus, Fireflus, keep Flus. Okay, he's probably a Vikings fan.
Yeah.
Let's just keep that out there. Guys, keep those comments coming. I hate the expression complimentary football, but let's go into the refs, Tony. It seems like a lot of people, Jalen Johnson did have 2 bad pass interference calls on him, which I don't think, so Jalen Johnson, the first one of the grab of the jersey and Jefferson, I agree with that one. But remember DJ Moore threw it to Rome and that defensive pass interference was missed? How do you miss that? And then the next drive, Jalen Johnson gets called for something way less serious. Tony, what were you thinking about that?
Yeah, I mean, they just straight up tackled Roma Dunze on that DJ Moore pass, which is funny to say, but it wasn't too many truly egregious where it's like, wow, this one call is destroying us, but it was just the little stuff, the little ticky tack things, and the Bears didn't help themselves. I will say, like they jumped off sides on what was that, a third, or I don't know what it was. It was right at the end of the first quarter though. And it was the entire defensive line jumped off. So that was a fair penalty, of course. But yeah, overall, I mean, it's just, should they be investigated? Yes, of course. I always think that about NFL officiating. It always seems like every week we see something weird in every game. They just didn't help us. And not that they should be only helping the Bears, but it was clearly just hurting us, just ticky-tack stuff that I know we had a comment saying it was both ways. Maybe at the end, but it really felt like they were harping a little more on the Bears.
So, Tony, I want us to both go into rant mode for the live chat. So here's what I want to say about the entire game as a whole. The Bears were expected to win this game by a lot of people. Vikings fans were like, this is a trap game for Minnesota. There's absolutely no reason the Bears shouldn't win this game, especially with how they played against Green Bay. Packers fans last week were saying they were shocked how well we did. This offense looks a lot better. But here's the problem with the Chicago Bears, is that the Chicago Bears cannot go out and get 800 total yards of offense in back-to-back weeks with a second-game offensive coordinator, a guy that was with the Carolina Panthers before that was taking away play calling duties 4 games in because of how bad he was. His head coach was crazy. But this is exactly what he's doing with Matt Eberflus. Matt Eberflus knows that his job is on the line, and he last week coached scared. That's exactly what happened with Matt Eberflus. Coached scared. Blew the game because of that. This week, Matt Eberflus grew a pair of cojones, but guess what? It's like a kid going through puberty, making a lot of bad decisions, thinking with that, not his brain. He made so many big mistakes with the challenge, with certain play calling. You saw him getting involved with Thomas Brown's play calling as well. And that's when the offense wasn't doing well. I don't know if you noticed it, Tony, but Matt Eberflus in the third quarter, the worst quarter of the Bears offense of the day, where they only had 82 yards out of their 400, the Bears did not. Matt Eberflus was in Thomas Brown's ear working with Caleb Williams. Matt Eberflus shouldn't be touching this offense at all. He is a defensive coordinator at best. And he coached scared last game, got a lot of heat from the media, and then he decided to overconfidently coach a guy that was 4-6 on a 4-game losing streak, now a 5-game losing streak, and he himself lost this game. Matt Eberflus has lost control of this team. No one's listening to him. No one wants to play for this guy. The players are playing for themselves, and you can see it because no one's high-fiving Eberflus after the game. More people are going up to Caleb Williams after it. Another one, too, is that Matt Eberflus literally let DeAndre Carter walk by him after the mistake he made on the punt, where the ball should not have even gotten close to him and hit him. And here's my big problem with that, is DeAndre Carter is a great player. He almost returned it for a kick return. We ended up getting the point, which was awesome, by the way. Way to rebound and get that. And he did that for the fans, and he did it for the team. He didn't do it to Flus. Flus didn't even go up to him and try to talk to him after and try to calm him down and say anything. Just sat on the sideline. High towers running over to DeAndre Carter and saying, hey, man, it's cool. Like, you got this. We're going to be back. It's fine. But Matt Eberflus isn't a coach anymore. He doesn't look like he wants to be out there. He looks tired. He looks exhausted. He's just throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping something sticks. And that is not what works in this league. Matt Eberflus is wasting this roster. There is too much talent on it. You don't go out and get Keenan Allen in order to have this type of roster. You don't go out and get Montez Sweat. You don't go out and get a lot of guys, Kevin Byard, anybody. And the thing is that Matt Eberflus just keeps blowing decisions. The 2-point conversion, I know analytically you said it was correct. I don't think it was correct because then the Bears would not have been from behind and would have put different pressure on them. Minnesota gets a lot more confidence. Also, on top of it, too, he's just making terrible overall decisions with his timeouts, with his formations, playing soft zone also against Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. What are you doing, man? Why are you playing soft zone when you have the most athletic secondary in the NFL? And then on top of it, too, he kept Tyreek Stevenson out there and not Terrell Smith. There are so many decisions that he has been making to make certain people happy, but at the end of the day, he is just doing it all wrong. And that's why Matt Eberflus is not a head coach in the NFL. He needs to go, and he blew this game. Tony, thoughts?
Wow, you summed it up incredibly. I think the best way I can sum it up is #FireFlus. Let's make sure we get that trending. That was the DeAndre Carter thing was exactly what I was going to bring up. I'm happy you did. Yeah, like you said, not only did he just walk by him, they just let him stew on the bench by himself. No coaching, no. Even if it's not going to be positive, like, hey man, you can get him next time. Yell at him, tell him, hey, we expect more from you. Whatever, give just something, not just apathy. Apathy is the absolute worst thing you could have as an NFL team in general, but especially as a coach, because that's the old whatever the old saying is. If I'm yelling at you, it means I care. You should be worried when I stop yelling at you. It does feel like he is coaching only in the mindset, like you said, of Kevin Warren's watching me. Ryan Poles probably too, but the ownership, George McCaskey, is watching me. I need to.
Who cares?
Agreed.
Who cares about George McCaskey? Also, if anyone ever sees that guy, because he walks around the parking lots before games.
He was there today.
Someone please yell. Yeah, could someone yell at him, please? Can someone actually be like, hey, George, sell the damn team? Oh, my God. Sorry, Tony. Keep going.
I was going to bring that up, too. Yeah, no, you absolutely nailed it. Oh, man. I hate him. I think that's all I can say, just because he is, like you said, he is ruining this talent. Caleb is still thriving for the most part, even with Flus at the helm. However, what I'm worried about, and we've seen it with plenty of other Chicago sports teams, so this is not the first time we've seen it, is Caleb going to get used to this losing, and is it going to bother him? Is it going to get in his head? We had the Matt Nagy whole saga after the double doink where it was, all we're going to do is practice kicking, and then that just kind of became our identity, is we're the team that's going to try our best to make a 43-yard field goal from the right hash. That's what I'm worried about, is our identity that we're just losers. I mean, it is. That is our identity, but that does not need to be the head coach's identity. We need change. We need something. I don't know if it should be Thomas Brown, because that is quite the set of promotions in a couple weeks, if they were going to fire him in season.
But he deserves it.
Agreed.
Thomas Brown actually knows how to have emotion and know how to talk to players and know how to get things done. And Thomas Brown should be the head coach, because what do we have to lose anymore? The Bears' best record that they could get after this is 10-7. And there's no way we're going to beat Detroit with some of the decisions that we've made. We play them twice. We play Green Bay and Minnesota again. So that's 4 of your games right there. You play San Francisco. It's just another game that the Bears should have won. And Relentless Mike said it best. We should have won this game. And also, the Vikings did not win this game. The Bears lost this game. I think that's the best way to put it. I really do. Sorry, Tony. Keep going.
Definitely. I do want to shout out Cairo Santos for that onside kick. I mean, obviously it was lucky and it was whatever, but hey, we still got it. It was still, I mean, I don't know if you caught the end of the Washington Commanders game. I mean, their onside kick was just right into the guy's arms. He returned it for a touchdown. Like, that was absolutely brutal. So at least there was, like you said, the players are playing for the players. It feels like the players are playing for the players and they're playing for the fans. It doesn't feel like they're playing for Flus. They're playing for, Thomas Brown, I guess, too. But the players are still out there playing, and they are just being hamstrung by Flus. And it's going to turn into, I think for everyone, obviously outside of a couple of the younger guys, I'm trying to earn my next contract. Where am I going to play next if this is how this is going to go? And that is a horrible that is when teams fall apart, because you are no longer playing for even your other players. You're playing for yourself, which is fine. I get it. Make your money. You want to earn your stuff, but that is that's where you start seeing the business decisions that cost games and whatever. So that is we haven't seen that yet, but that is the mentality that is slowly going to start creeping in if Flus continues to do this.
That is a really good point, is that we have so much talent. We have a lot of guys on one-year contracts that are coming up here that we should keep. Luckily, we have our linebackers under contract. We have our secondary under contract. We have most of our defensive linemen under contract. So the defense I don't have to worry about. But Keenan Allen, who showed up today, he's got to do it again and again. That's someone I'm worried about. Guys might start asking to be traded, though. I mean, Jalen Johnson's not going to want to be here with this type of mentality. He said he's tired of losing. You could lose Tremaine Edmonds, who had a good game today. You can lose Kevin Byard. A lot of the guys might start demanding trades, and I would only want that if there's a new GM in, because rebuild from the bottom up. Tony, we got 250 people in here. Shout out to you guys for tuning in this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bears. We got Tony for a couple more minutes. Tony, 5 more minutes, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay, we got you for 5 more minutes. Guys, let's talk about the positives of today's game, though. Let's go through the box score real quick. Bears, obviously, almost 400 total yards of offense back-to-back weeks. Thomas Brown did a great job, good on efficiency, but let's go through the stats of players, Tony. 30 for 44 from Caleb Williams, 303 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 0 turnovers. And on top of it, too, Caleb Williams breaks the Bears' single-season rookie passing record. Pretty good right there. Caleb Williams also rushing the ball himself, 5 for 32, 6.4 yards per carry. Rashawn Johnson with a rushing touchdown. Great job there. 6 for 6 on the year with rushing touchdowns on the goal line. Receiving, Keenan Allen, biggest game of the season so far. 9 receptions, 87 yards, 9.7 yards per catch and a touchdown. DJ Moore with his receiving touchdown, his 4th of the year, a 13.8 yard per catch average. And Cole Kmet, 7 receptions for 63. Romadunze, 5 for 39. This team was moving things going. The offense looked pretty darn good. Tony, how are you feeling about the offense after this one?
Yeah, honestly, I do feel good about it. And I think everyone kind of agrees on that. Overall, I think we're progressing. We're playing decent. Caleb Williams, we should probably hit on a couple of the Caleb Williams masterclass legend plays. That first throw to Keenan Allen where he fitted in what I thought at the time was the tightest window I've ever seen a football thrown into. And then following it up with that scramble and just the most perfect drop in the bucket to DeAndre Swift. And then Caleb goes out and does it, throws it. I think it was to Keenan again, but it was through like 3 defenders in the middle of the field. Perfect. So an even tighter window somehow. And then we have to talk about his freaking first down pickup, that 4th down conversion when he leaped over a man while still in the pocket. It's one thing in open. Yeah, it's one thing in open field because like you got a little space to work. When the pocket is collapsing, you're still jumping over a guy and you were converting a first down. That is a guy that knows how to win. That's a guy that will do anything for this team. And I know Justin Fields was a good scrambler and stuff, but he doesn't have the freaking arm that Caleb does. So that is why this is different. That is why he is just so good. Rashawn Johnson should get every carry. DeAndre Swift should honestly only be a passing option at this point. I won't say negatives because we're on positives. I think that would be a positive way for the Bears to go about it. Rome looked fine. Nothing, no complaints. Keenan Allen, he did have obviously the one drop, and then the out of bounds wasn't his fault. He looked awesome. That's exactly what we wanted out of Keenan Allen. Just the guy that Caleb can go to that will catch the ball and will get a first down, will pick up the yards that we need. Thomas Brown calling those short passes or those quick passes, 3-yard hitches when pressure's coming. Caleb get in and out. We'd been yelling about that for weeks, and it finally happened, and it worked.
I think that this offense did a great job of actually moving the ball. They did a great job. They got things going. I mean, it is a 5-game losing streak, but the game was entertaining. They took it to overtime. They overcame a deficit late in a game and got things done. The onside kick obviously was big. Caleb Williams getting it done was big. Big stuff over there. And Tony, before we lose you, quickly, everyone, 78 likes and 227 people. Let's get up to 100 likes on this video. If you haven't already, please go hit that like button on the video to get more Bears fans to tune in and see this post game. One more thing I want to call out, Tony, is the defense. I thought the defense did a good job in the red zone again today, only allowing 1 red zone score for the Minnesota Vikings, or technically 1 red zone touchdown, 1 field goal, but they stopped 2 potential touchdowns coming in. They had a turnover on the goal line by Jonathan Owens, and then only allowing a field goal. So I thought the Bears did a pretty good job at holding their own late in the zone, and this is why Eberflus is a better coordinator than a head coach.
Yeah, I agree. It was okay. Yeah, we're sticking positive. The defense definitely made plays at times when they needed to. All right, I'm going to do a negative. They played way too, and it's not the defense's fault. That I think was on Flus, where it was a lot of zone defense. Like you said, with you have Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison running out there, but you also have TJ Hawkinson. TJ Hawkinson is a big old guy. You cannot give him space because he is as sure-handed as it gets. He is going to catch the football when you need him to catch the football, and that was where I know I agree with you that we were definitely more aggressive, less playing scared today. But at the end of the game, we played scared. We got away from the classic, pressure, tight man cover. We have the most athletic secondary, like you said, one of the most athletic secondaries. 30 points is tough. I do think kind of near the end, before obviously the comeback from the Bears, I think it was a little just giving up, which isn't, totally on them. I do think that's, again, the culture that Flus has kind of created. Little less some to be desired, needed some turnovers at the end of the game, but I mean, I think they'll bounce back. The Vikings are a good team. We shouldn't take that away. They're 9-2.
They're 9-2. Right? Yeah.
So they're 1 win away from what the Bears' max record could be at the end of the season. Yeah, the fact that we're sticking with the Packers and the Vikings is a good sign, as much as it hurts to say and it feels hollow. Got to be a little better on defense, but it wasn't. I don't know. There was no one specifically where I'm like, oh my gosh, get this guy off the team. Jonathan Owens played great, had some tough coverage at times, but yeah, I guess that's kind of my summary of the defense.
Yeah, and again, guys, going against one of the toughest wide receiver rooms in the NFL, Sam Darnold, also one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL at the moment. We still got things done. Bears were definitely holding their own, and Caleb Williams kept him in the game. Caleb Williams wants to be a winner, guys. You can see it in his eyes. You can see that he just wants it so bad. We're going to look out for his post-game conference. I'm excited about it. I'm sure you are too, Tony. But, guys, we're going to close this thing out in just a second. If you please could, hit the like button on the video before you leave and subscribe to the channel. Stay up to date on all Chicago Bears news notifications. I have to go back and rewatch this entire game, break the whole thing down, and give you guys a video in the morning. So you guys will see that, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. But, Tony, thanks for tuning in to this one. I know you got to go pick up our good friend Nick at the airport right now.
Absolutely. The Bears continue to play the silliest games imaginable of all time, having a chain gang member go down, like just absolute pure insanity. And of course, we didn't come out on top, but hey, Caleb looked good. Caleb looked good. Flus looked bad. He's going to get fired. Thomas Brown looked good. Keep progressing. Yeah, I think that's what the biggest takeaway. Just progress.
Yeah. Progress. Keep finding ways to get better. Because it's going to be next year that the Bears are going to be good. But, Tony, thanks for tuning in. And always thank you, everyone, for tuning in this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bears. We appreciate you always supporting the channel and supporting us growth. But we will be back tomorrow morning with a full breakdown of the Bears versus Vikings loss. But with that, thank you, as always, for tuning in this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bears. My name is Nick Brody. Hit that like button, comment Bear Down, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And we'll see you guys next time. Bear down, baby.